Hey guys, so I just wanted to show you SlateDex, which is a Pokemon stat tracking app for free that helps you prep and understand how your team works and performs and plays. And so I wanted to dive into it. One, you can create multiple teams of different Pokemon and then track stats against them. And so the first tab here is going to be matchups. This shows me which matchups my team performs well into, where I'm struggling into, where I'm running into trouble. So like King Gambit for this team is a huge problem, which is kind of a big deal because he's very, very popular. Goes to my leads, so it'll show my top leads pairing by win rate. And how many games I played, and then shows me some matchups, which is really cool. So I can see that I led Incineroar and Glamora here and lost this game. So this way I can start to better understand my leads, what they're going into, and where I'm struggling on that front. The Mega Evolution tab will help start tracking what turns I Mega Evolve into, and then whether if it's early Mega Evolution, what's my win rate, or if it's a late, what's my win rate on that. And then it gives you a per Pokemon breakdown as well, where you can start to see your average damage. So average damage is when your Pokemon does a move and it hits, how much damage is it dealing on average. It'll track the KOs, how many times it's fainted, but you can start to see how, like, who's performing on this team. Maybe I want Victory Bell to, KO a lot, but it's also taking KOs when it goes down, that kind of stuff, as well as the damage, and it keeps past iterations of the team unless you fork a new team. So you can see I tried out Chimecho on here, and then it keeps a match history. And so this way, if I were to, for instance, dive into a previous match, so here you can see the stats from the game, the individual game that you clicked into. What's really cool about this is this will tell you which Pokemon dealt the damage. So you can see here, Glamora just went ham. And then down here, it'll give a move breakdown as well. So Sludge Bomb did 155 damage, averaging 51.7. So this will give you insight into which moves are performing, which ones aren't, which Pokemon are performing, which ones aren't. Are they leading? How many turns are they alive? And just kind of like that overall performance throughout the game, so you can start to see who's really carrying the weight and who's not, and what changes you may need to make. Last thing I wanted to show was the creator teams. So this is a great way to highlight your teams in a variety of ways, put the stats out there so people can see how it's performed, etc. And so there's kind of two versions of this. One is you have your creator stats. This is how the creator plays the team. And then if we go back, you can see here, for instance, there's also a community tab. And this community tab will show how the community has played that team and how well they're performing with that team. So this way you can start to see the skill matchups for the teams. And then later, when we start better understanding the comparative win rates between how the community plays the team and how the creator plays the team, how difficult the team is to adapt, and then start recommending teams for newer players, for ones that are maybe quick to pick up, quick to learn, quick to go through. And so this is going to be some really interesting data here that also shows, for instance, lead versus lead matchups, top lead pairings, the mega evolutions as well. So it has the same stats that you get on your team, but just for the creators. And then when you're trying to build teams, you can start seeing your overall Pokemon performance across all teams. So this is just the aggregate, right? So you can see that in 69 games, I've included King Gambit. I've brought King Gambit to 34, which is just under 54% win rate. And I have a 75% or bring rate, and I have a 75% win rate when I lead with King Gambit. Which I actually primarily been doing with Mimikyu for the Trick Room setup. And it's just really cool to see all this data on this front. So I can, when I'm building teams, for instance, and I'm like, okay, who have I performed? Like, which Pokemon meshes with me? Which ones do I understand well that I may need to fit into a team? I can go to here. I can see my damage dealers here. I can sort by average, so I can figure out who's really, like, when they hit, do they really punch? And one more really cool thing is my matchup heat map. And so this allows me to figure out how I've been performing with a certain Pokemon against others, right? So if we bring in, for instance, fighting types against King Gambit, unless they're a slow fighting type, I actually perform pretty well against the fighting types. Now, Chople Berry helps a lot with that. But this is some really cool data where you can start to see how you're performing into matchups that maybe figuring out, are you actually countering the type of Pokemon that you want to counter? And so here, if I, just want to filter on Sneasler as well, I can just go ahead and select Sneasler and then figure out my matchups from there. And so this just helps you understand like where your counters are, not just the counters in the meta, but where you as a player are countering that Pokemon. I hope this app really helps people understand how they're playing, create new strategies, and find those Pokemon that really allow them to shine in their unique way, because that's what gets really exciting when you're on stream or performing in a tournament and someone brings this unique team or unique Pokemon to there. And so I'm really hoping that this helps people find their unique Pokemon, as well as just better prep for events and better understand the game and help improve.